Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to my review of the Nezumi Voiture Chronograph. Now, Nezumi Studios are a small brand based in Sweden. They've been making watches for a number of years, but not in huge volumes. I think they've only got 4 models in their range as well, so you are forgiven if you haven't heard of them up to this point. I have reviewed 2 of their range back in 2018. Indeed, I was so impressed with them that they made my top 5 micro brands of 2018 video. They didn't make it onto my list for 2020 though, the reason being that they just haven't released any new models. They did, however, release a couple of special editions which you might have seen pop up on your Instagram or YouTube feeds, especially if you are a retro motorsport fan like I am. Swedish brand, they released a tribute to Ronnie Peterson, one of the greatest Swedish racing drivers of all time, in black and gold. So iconic, so synonymous with the JPS Lotuses of the 70s and the 80s. They also released something a bit different, a Pink Panther officially licensed watch. Those ones sold out, I think, before they even went to market. So no new models, but they have been busy with some special editions anyway. Now, to be clear, this watch was sent to me for free by the company. I don't have to send it back. Like I said, I've reviewed 2 of the models in the past. They're not dollar dazzlers. We're in the 300s today for a mega quartz powered chrono, but I found them to be really complete watches. Very nicely done. No real weak points. Let's flip the camera and see if this one can carry on that tradition. Now, if you have watched one of my previous Nezumi Studios videos, this box may well look familiar to you. I tried to do the last full review without opening the packaging because on the back of the box there is all of the vital information that I'm about to tell you about the watch, but that would be cheating. We don't want to do that. Really nice packaging. Like I said, these watches are in the low 300s. I think this one is about 340 in this specification at the current exchange rate, assuming that you live in the States or you live outside the EU anyway and you're not paying those EU taxes. Now, I think for that you're getting a well thought out watch, not a spec monster, but clearly, even from the outer packaging, it's something that they've gone to great lengths to design. Now, please don't blame Nezumi for the colour choice. I picked this one. I thought if I'm going to go 60s, 70s retro chrono, then I'm going to go mustard and brown. I appreciate the mustard one isn't going to be to everyone's taste. I think the gold one that I showed you in the intro is still available if you want a little bit more bling than this offers, but I think it looks pretty good. 40mm in diameter, 47mm lug to lug, just under 13mm thick, 20mm lug widths, and on the supplied vegetable tanned rally style leather strap. This one weighs in at 68 grams, so nice and light on wrist. 316L stainless steel case, fixed bezel, crown, and 2 chrono pushers. We also have a stainless steel case back, but I'll come back to that one a bit later on. We have got double domed sapphire crystal with a nice beveled edge and a bit of anti-reflective undercoating. You can see just a pale colour, pale blue purple hue in my studio lighting today. That is nicely integrated, sloping fixed bezel and aluminium insert with some gold lettering there, as you can see, and a nicely integrated piece of sapphire. Definite vintage looks when I show you the side profile, quite pronounced claw lugs here. Fine brush across the mid case and high polished on the upper edges, high polish surround to that bezel. And as you can see, the bezel seems to kind of float like a flying saucer there. So it is fixed. You've got the tachymeter scale on the aluminium insert, but it is a fixed bezel. Nezumi branded N, the Nezumi N logo on the crown. Blank, unbranded chrono pushers. Let's have a look at that case back then. Screw on, only 50 meters of water resistance, but given that it's a racing chronograph, I'm not going to complain too much about that today. The big Nezumi logo, kind of coin press here, Nezumi creating bonds, established 2011. So like I said, they've been around for quite a while, Nezumi, even though they've kept a fairly low profile, a fairly small range of watches since then. But let's get back to that dial and let's get the chrono running. So one push of the top pusher to start. As discussed, this is the VK63 tri-register, tri-compacts. Ticking small seconds hand down there at the 6 o'clock. We have got a 30-minute chrono timer at the 9, and that is a 24-hour indicator, so 1 revolution per day at the 3 o'clock. If the ticking small second hand bugs you, their lows, which I think was the first one I reviewed, doesn't have a second hand at all. So initially a little bit to get used to, looking down at your watch and wondering whether it is still running. But if the ticking quartz really bothers you that much, then you can always go for a different design. Buy compacts with 0 small seconds there. As it is the VK63, the battery in this one should last you 3 years, so you can have some confidence, a fair degree of confidence that the watch is still running, and plus or minus 20 seconds per month accuracy from this module. So the same accuracy you can expect on a daily basis from a cheap auto, you're getting that on a monthly basis out of this one. So applied indices, there is a bit of luminova on those indices and on the hands. I'll pop a lume video in there now. Perhaps not amazing, but then again, this is a racing chrono and not a diver, but nice to have a bit of that. And there's some on the diamond shaped tip of the chrono hand as well. The Nezumi logo and Stockholm, Sweden, Voiture, the model number just printed on the dial, and in very small letters, Japanese movement just either side of the index at 6. Now, those 3 sub-registered are actually recessed. If I show you the watch at an angle, you can see the applied indices and those recessed sub-dials. Hopefully you can catch them. I'll pop in some macro of the hands as well. Fairly simple looking on the surface, kind of stick hands, but as you can see there's a brushed outer edge. There's a kind of double bevel here, brushed outer, high polished inner, and obviously the loomed center to those ones. Nice Nezumi N logo featuring on the counterbalance of the second hand. I don't think they've over-branded it, but a couple of nice touches nonetheless. And there it is, looking super 70s on wrist. I've got a 7-inch wrist for your reference. 40mm, 20mm lugs, that's kind of my preference. A lot of my watches tend to follow that pattern. I think it's a great size for most people. Because those vintage style lugs do drop down, I reckon guys with slightly smaller wrists will get away with this one, no problem at all. Now, vegetable tan leather strap, rally style here, vintage cross stitching, and a nice shiny Nezumi high polished buckle again with the logo on it there. This one is beginning to break in. It's a little bit stiffer than some I've seen, but that is good for long-term wear, I guess. And that's the full overhead shot. Silver hands against a coloured dial, perhaps not ultra legible. Those 3 little sub-register hands, you can spot them no problem at all because they're black against the kind of cream coloured background, but it's not a dive watch, so legibility isn't the order of the day here. And that's set outside in some natural light. I really like the fact that they've gone for gold printing on the aluminium bezel insert, and that aluminium bezel insert is kind of matte in finish. Again, in keeping with that retro look, really tones in nicely with the mustard colour dial on this particular model. On wrist, as you can see there, fits me nicely. Quartz movement, slim, less than 13mm, 40mm diameter. These kind of watches really do wear very well. Moans and niggles, what am I going to complain about today? Well, not an awful lot. If you like a mustard dialed retro style chronograph, that is, I appreciate that not everyone is going to be going for this look overall. I could have done with that minute hand being a bit broader. Like I said, silver against a coloured dial doesn't really stand out. I think that might have helped just with a bit of legibility. Only 50 meters of water resistance, 100 would obviously be my preference. That would have added a bit more Thule versatility to the overall package. I guess that would have probably come with a screw down crown as well. And as nice as this vintage style rally strap is, it's unbranded. I'm guessing they buy it from a third party, but it would have been nicer if they had stamped the Nezumi logo on there somewhere, just to make it feel like it belonged to the watch a bit more than it currently does. But like I said, I think these Nezumi Studios watches, very strong overall, some really nice design, very well thought out end to end. I guess the real rivals for these ones are something like the Dan Henry, the 1962, also powered by the VK63 Mecha Quartz Chronograph. Now these ones are a little more expensive than the Dan Henrys, but you get a 2-year warranty rather than a 1-year warranty, and for me the big deciding factor is that that's sapphire rather than mineral crystal. So they cost a bit more, but I think you're probably better off with a Nezumi in the long run. I just wish they would release more models. Come on Nezumi, do us all a favour, release some new models in 2020. So there you have it. If you've been looking for a retro chronograph but with modern internals to wear with your string-back driving gloves, perhaps you've just found it in the Nezumi Voiture. Like I said, not what I would call cheap. Obviously I would be more comfortable recommending it to you if it was a few dollars less, but I think you're getting a well-rounded watch for the money. Great strap, really nice case design, some lovely detailing on the dials, and I know the mustard might not be for everyone, but I like it. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.